Hey, that was probably the best week of ELF football we've seen in a while.
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them.
Hey, that was probably the best week, as I mentioned before, the best week we've seen in ELF football, especially this season where we've got some incredible games, but all around from top to bottom, except one, that was a great slate of games. Athletes Forum Podcast, I'm your host, Jamal Clay. Let's dive right into power rankings because I feel like it's time to kind of paint the picture of what the players will look like. So there's not a lot of changes. There's not a lot of changes in my power rankings, and I'm going to get into like what the playoff picture looks like, and we'll dive into those. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to three who I would call unsung heroes. Shout out to Fourth Down Fiasco for the awards that come out this week. But Edo Molina, running back for Madrid, Kai Hunter, running back for the Surge, and Alexander Kennedy Shanning, running back for the Storm. All three weren't starters beginning of the season, came in when they had to, balled out this week, all led their teams to victories. I just had to give a shout out to those guys, those unsung heroes, because they balled out and they deserve it. They deserve it. So, power rankings. We'll get into power rankings. We'll talk a little bit about where some of the teams in line. Not a lot of changes, but definitely some things to definitely talk about. So, first things first, the bottom didn't change much. We did have a slight change. We did have a slight change in the bottom, as you can see here. We have Berlin jumping Hamburg. Better record than Hamburg. And Berlin is at least they're a team that is, not messing around with their food. They took care of business, what they did with Cologne, and again through the ups and downs, they deserve it. I bumped them up one. Next change you may see, Prague dropped one, Frankfurt, not Frankfurt. Prague dropped one, Panthers jumped one, right? This was disappointing for Prague. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This disappointing loss, especially at home, with how you beat this team and where that win took you guys to trajectory-wise in regards to your next couple of games. This was a disappointing loss. The Panthers got caught sleeping the first time they played you. Not this time. DJ Irons had a couple touchdowns, 100 on the ground, 100 in the air. I think 3 or 4 touchdowns. AJ Wentland type of game, 17 tackles. He balled. Prague, I would say out of all the losses, this is the worst one. Let's continue. Fire, I didn't feel like there was a need to drop the Fire. They lost by 1 to who I consider a top-tier team. We'll dive into that game. If you haven't already, check out my instant reaction to that game where you could get my thoughts, on that game. Madrid, they didn't move. Surge, they didn't move. Here we got some movement. I dropped Munich. This is the same thing happened to the Nordic Storm. If you get caught playing with your food, you drop in the rankings. That's what I did last week when the Storm had a blunder of a game versus Hamburg, and I had to do it this week with Munich and versus Helvetic. So Munich dropped, Storm bump up one. Paris, don't move. I checked that. Paris at 2, Vikings at 1. This might have been a ELF championship game preview. Really, really good game. If you haven't seen it, check out my instant reaction to this game. Link in the bio. But, we're at the point where we could cross-reference games, and just because you're undefeated doesn't necessarily mean you're the best team. And when I look at how the Storm played the Fire, I look at how the Paris Musketeers played the Fire. I don't know if Storm are better than the Musketeers. That's what I think. So that's what kept me at this ranking and kept me Paris and Vikings with minimal movement at 2, and Vikings at 1. Vikings, again, back up top, could be the best team in the league. Certainly are proving it and got a huge win. Again, check out my instant reaction to that game. Let's talk playoffs. So this is how it currently looks right now. We got the Vikings holding down the 1 seed. Munich comes in at 2. And then we got a couple rematches with Paris and the Surge. And then we get Raiders and the Storm. But what I want to talk about is this 6th seed right here. Because there are a lot of teams that are going to be vying for that 6th seed. And we got 4 weeks left in the season, right? You still got teams like Madrid who has to play Frankfurt. They have to win versus the Raiders and Munich. Again, they might have the hardest down the stretch run left in their schedule, right? You talk about a team like the Raiders. They're still fighting for the division. They play Munich this upcoming week. They play the Bravos this upcoming week, right? They get the Fire again. They have another hard schedule. Fire, a team fighting for the playoffs. Fire essentially have to win out. They essentially have to win out. You got the Raiders. You got the Storm again. I'm not sure who else is on the schedule. But also you look at other teams like Surge, Paris. Like what happens in the West, East are the Lions going to find a way to maybe sneak in to the playoffs? I think Vikings pretty much wrap that division up. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how this all folds. But you know how this works. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the power rankings. Let me know if it looks right or if it doesn't.